You've mentioned a expanded voter registration period. Do you think that would help, in effect, the Democrats?
Oh, yes, it would help greatly. The Republicans have their membership on computers. They know who they are. They have the money to phone. They've already gone door to door in the heavy Republican precincts in West Harris and North Dallas counties. And the Democrats don't have that money. And we have slower appeals. If we had this voter registration period extended for some months until the candidates were announced and the issues drawn, it would stimulate voter interest and we'd have a much larger Democratic registration.
What about Democratic Party unity in 1969 and looking ahead to 1970?
We have the finest Democratic Party unity in Texas that I've seen since before World War II. But it's created problems. In a lot of counties we phone, they say, "What are you all worried about, Ralph?" Or "What's the governor worried about?" Well, we've got the parties unified now. And they think that party unity will do the work without getting out and working and registering voters. When we had party schisms, both branches of the Democratic Party would work hard to register voters in their faction. Now they aren't doing that. They think the party's unified and they don't have to work. And therein lies the danger to the Democratic Party in Texas.
When I announced my candidacy, Bill Steger, as chairman, assured me that there would be an open primary. He said that I was, to quote him, a distinguished and able candidate, and that he welcomed my entry into the race. And I've been telling everybody that I had been assured by the state chairman that there would be a truly open primary. Then Bill Steger said what he did last night and gave people the impression that the party was behind George Bush. Now, I called Bill Steger last night, and Bill said that he did not intend in any way to give that impression. It's true he was expressing a preference, but he didn't think a preference was a violation of neutrality.
Now that you have made an issue of this, do you expect that Mr. Steger might retract his statement, declare his neutrality in the Bush-Morris race, and make it indeed an open primary?
He must do that. I think in order to establish himself as the state chairman, that he has to do that, because the Republicans in Texas need an open primary for the reasons I set forth here. We have to attract more voters, not less voters, and if we take an exclusionary position, which his position impliedly was, then we're going to wreck our chances right here in December, even before the campaign gets underway.
In lieu of the deaf ears that's been turned to black citizens and post-citizens of the city of Dallas, people have made a decision to take their problems in the streets. They feel a need to do something dramatic, to dramatize their feelings and frustrations. And through this, SCLC has decided to use its expertise and experiences to organize and mobilize people in the streets to protest what's happening in Fair Park, what's happening in Roosevelt Heights, police brutality, so forth and so on. This will begin January 1st, which is New Year's Day and Cotton Bowl time. And if things aren't settled January 1st, January 2nd, we'll be back in the streets. January 3rd, so forth and so on.
When you say the city has turned a deaf ear, who in the city, the mayor or the city councilman?
Well, whoever makes the decisions for the city. If the city government makes those decisions, then the city government have turned deaf ears.
Well, we're increasing the patrolling in these trouble spots, and we're coordinating with the park rangers the patrolling of these areas. That's what's being done. Of course, the problem, as you know, is one of lawlessness and one that we're constantly fighting. And we don't seem to be getting anywhere. We send these guys to the penitentiary, and they get out right back doing the same thing.
In such instances as this, generally someone says, well, law enforcement is breaking down. They're not getting it in the courts. They don't make it rough enough on them. What is the truth about that? Let's ask District Attorney Frank Coffey. Frank, what are the figures on robberies? What do you have available?
From July of 1968 up through January of 1969, we had 75 defendants that were brought from the Fort Worth Police Department on robbery charges. Approximately 84% of those people are presently in the penitentiary.
On the spur of the moment, I won't ask you to quote direct figures on rape, but there is rape reasonably often. What is the percentage there? What are the convictions?
Probably, of course, as a result of the very nature of the crime itself, it probably runs approximately 50% as far as convictions are concerned.
Can be done by police and lawyers, and it will be. In the meantime, there's one thing you can do. That's try at least to look out for yourself and stay out of dark parks. This is Jerry Taff.
During the time I was in jail and under indictment, I knew that I was innocent, but I was worried how to prove it. I'm glad that they finally learned that I was not connected with this crime. After learning that the indictment against me had been dismissed, I felt that quite a burden had been lifted from me. During the time that I was under indictment, my life was greatly affected. I could not go to school and could not hold any job. Now that I've been cleared of this charge, I intend to begin a new life by entering military service, after which I will go to college under the GI Bill. I hold no bitterness against anyone.